Hey guys, it's JG, and I'm going to be doing a review today for The Bad Batch, episode 3 of season 1, Replacements. Replacements is definitely my favorite episode of the 3 so far. I know that it could be kind of hard to compare it to the first one, when the first one was almost a full movie long, but it's definitely better than the second one, and I did like the vibes and the beats and the story plots in episode 3 more than episode 1. Before we get any deeper, though, I do want to put in a spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the episode, you should probably pause, come back to this, and watch it later. In episode 3, Replacements, the Bad Batch crashes onto a moon, and they also have to get a piece of their ship back after it's taken by a monster on the planet. And then we also see the flip side, and we actually see from the point of view of Crosshair, and we see his story, and where the Empire is trying to figure out whether they should use clones or should they recruit soldiers, and we see a story be told through the eyes of Crosshair. Now this episode was dark, especially when we look at the elements from the Crosshair part of the story, where Crosshair and the they're almost like Imperial commandos. Obviously they're not commandos at this point, but it gave me that vibe. And they were sent on the mission to go to Honoran to wipe out Saw and his group. Saw is actually already gone, but there are the remaining people who was supporting him. And very quickly and almost without any effort, they are able to kill them all. One of the recruits hesitates and says that they should not because they're civilians, and Crosshair basically executes him at point blank and says the infamous lines, "Good soldiers follow orders." So it really does show that Crosshair right now is just fully committed, whether it's because of these chip or whether it's maybe some other motive. It definitely is showing that regardless, he is going full force into this. And I thought that it was very dark, very intense. We're only in the third episode and we're getting this. It really opens the door for even darker stuff to come down the road. And even though that this was very dark, we had very beautiful moments, especially with Omega. And one of the most touching scenes for me was whenever Wrecker has creates like the loft space for her, kind of like her own bedroom, and it is beautiful, and it was just very heartwarming. I do think that the writers and the people behind the show are setting us up to have our heart broken, though. They keep putting in all these touching moments with Omega and building up the connection between the Bad Batch and her. But I do think that this is setting up to some very tragic moments to come down the road. I did find very interesting as well the fact that Wrecker, he kept touching his head, and I think if you were not paying too close attention, I think you might be like, oh, he has like a concussion, he hit his head, but I think it has something to do with the inhibitor chip, and it could also play into with what Tech is doing when he's building that thing to track it and see what's going on. So I think that could be very interesting, which could then lead to the possibility of them finding out that they could actually save their brother, and so I do think that it could be very problematic, but also hopeful at the same time. Overall, this episode was fantastic. It was beautiful as always. Again, the music was on point, and I really dug some of the darker themes and the darker tones. It's set up with a lot of questions, especially with the Camamoans. What are they doing? What is their plan? Are they going to maybe try to pull a revolt against the Empire? Will that succeed? Probably not, but it's going to be very interesting to see. This episode, honestly, like, the more I talk about it and the more I gush about it, it is my favorite of the 3 so far, and I know that a lot of people will probably prefer the first one due to the length even, but just in general, this episode hit every single beat for me perfect. I give this episode a 4.5 out of 5. I really can't say much more, but I really dug it. If you've seen this episode, which I hope you have if you watched this, what did you think about it? What were your favorite moments, your least favorite moments? What was your favorite episode so far? What do you think the Camoans are doing? I want to hear all about it. I want to talk about it with you. Leave a comment down below. Hit a like. on this video. It really does help. Hit subscribe so that way you never miss any more Star Wars content, whether that be Bad Batch reviews or other shows and movies down the road. Again, thank you guys so much. Have a great day.